I am going to explain what's going on here once I reach the 15-second mark. Okay guys, I know my channel's all over the place with different topics, but here's my most recent project. I got a 100-watt solar panel kit. These are actually all individual panels of 25 watts each, which is handy, and it comes with all these interesting things. And so obviously I needed a bunch of other components to go with it, like the battery and an inverter and things like that. So in the process, I have this box that I'm putting these AGM batteries. I wired them in parallel so that I'm keeping them at 12 volts, and I'll have 210 amp hours. So what I'm doing here for this test right now is I'm heating up some water, and this has only been plugged in for 30 minutes and I've already got up to like 100 degrees. This is only a 300-watt heating element right inside of there with a bulkhead fitting, and I'll link some tutorials. I opted to attach kind of a long hose so that this whole unit can actually sit outside underneath my camper, and this water will be outside, and then this hose can run into the camper so that I can have hot water. So this is just for like dishes and showers. So it looks to me like this is plenty warm. Let me show you. I'll try not to be too cumbersome and long with this video. But this is for our camper. Had no functions in it when we bought it. Nothing. Like it had like a water tank and a sink and nothing else. Like there was no, let's see if I can show you. So once it gets all the way up to temperature, it's at least 100 degrees in only a half an hour with a 300-watt element. And so that requires an 8-gauge wire with 30 amp little clips here. And so these clips are the solar panels sending power in. And right now I'm only using one of the 25-watt solar panels. This little blue box down here is called a Victron 100 amp Smart Protect, and this is a sensor that lets me know, it's going to notify me in an app if my batteries get below voltage, because I don't want that to happen. And I don't have it wired, I don't have the water wired through the Victron right now, but I will do that soon. And so here's my charge controller for the solar panel. And this was at 13 volts when I started this, and it's kept it really, it was at 12.3 for the longest time, and now it's at 12.2. And I'm only sending 25 watts of power in for my solar panel. I still have, 75 more watts that I could put into that. But I was really happy that it only took a half an hour for this to heat up to enough temperature for me to take a shower. And it could be a little hotter to wash dishes, but this is only going to take up 25 amps an hour, this 300 watt. This is a DC heating element. There's a tutorial in the description if you want to know how to do this. It's only going to take up 25 amps an hour, and I have 210 amps to go off of. So as long as I have like the right size wires, the right size clips, all that sort of thing, then I'm pretty much good to go. I have a water pump, a rechargeable portable water pump that I'll connect to this hose so that I can bring warm water into my camper, or I want to keep the bucket outside so that we can also take a shower in we have a little pop-up shower tent because there's no bathroom in our camper. So yeah, it's steady at 100 degrees right now, which I think is pretty efficient for that time frame, and it's doing good on my battery, so I'm pretty happy with that. It is a sunny day. There's some other factors that I'll maybe make another video about and go into for you to let you know what else I'm doing, but I'm gonna put this inverter in, which requires some inline fuses and things like that. This inverter actually cannot be wired into this battery protect. It's just something that the company, it'll void your warranty if you do it, which kind of annoyed me. But any other DC appliances can be linked through that, so that it will shut off power to the devices if my voltage gets too low, at a parameter that I can set so that I won't destroy my batteries. But because it gives me a notification, if it gets too low, in the case of my inverter, I can just come outside once it notifies me that it's getting too low, and I can disconnect it from the battery. The inverter is mostly for, I'm going to use it as my shore power. I'm going to plug my camper shore power into the inverter, and that will run. I don't have anything to power in my camper except for 3 lights and a few outlets, and the only thing that I really want to plug into the outlets is a small 720 watt heater, an electric heater, so that we don't have to use propane or, you know, a buddy heater or anything like that. This is just giving us a little more options to be, you know, off grid, to be boondock camping and have the basic things that we need. Because there will be days that there may not be sun, I also want to integrate a wind turbine into this setup, and this element will work perfect as a dump load. Wind turbines just continue to make power. Their charge controllers aren't like solar panels. Solar panel charge controllers, once it's charged, it stops sending power. But I don't know, I'm still trying to understand the wind turbine, but apparently they need a dump load so that when they've provided enough charge for the batteries, that power can go somewhere else and do something else with that power. So I can use it for this. So I'm gonna figure out how to set that all up. It's way over my head kind of stuff, so I'm just learning as I go and watching videos like crazy. But I'll show you my solar panel outside, since I just have one going right now. Just have this one little panel going for the day, and it's doing fine. I mean, gosh, if I had all 3 going, I could really keep that up pretty good, so that's great. I'll be excited to put a wind turbine into this setup just for supplemental power at night, cloud, you know, like a day when it's not sunny enough. These panels, these are Harbor Freight, they do really well on cloudy days. They still send good power. So anyway, just thought I'd share what I've been up to, setting up this neat little off-grid boondocking setup that can also be used in an emergency. If for some reason we needed, we could power a small fridge and a deep freeze if we had a long-term power outage. So we have all sorts of other little things set up. We have a composting toilet that I made. We have a washing machine that you wash by hand in a bucket. I have another video about that. We have a water distillery, different things that would just be useful if we absolutely needed it. So just thought I'd share with you. If you have any questions, I can point you in the direction of some good tutorials that can get you going. This whole setup, I want to say, was kind of in the $1,000 range, which included the panels. Everything I have so far that I showed you was about $1,000 range, and we used our stimulus money for that. And I got this neat little cart that it's all sitting on. Originally I had built it all to go into a toolbox, but I had lead acid batteries, and I decided not to go with, well, these are lead acid, but I decided not to go with flooded, because if I really needed to, I can place these inside the camper and it would be safe, but flooded, I can't do that. So that kind of made me nervous. Also, the one other thing that this gives me the ability to do, let me see if I can get it for you. I haven't tried this out yet, but this connector allows me to plug into this, and I could actually charge this in my car, as long as my car was running,